Hi, welcome to Cladrodrom YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, like and share so that the other person come to know about the details of rebar detailer, and it's too useful for me to follow more and share more detail about the rebar detailing. So let's get into the video. We are now talk about we have already talked and discussed about what is the rebar detailing and what is the main detail we need to go for, and there is one structural and architectural. From the structural we are going to take main points. So this is the video that we are going to discuss more about what are the point we need to get from the structural drawing. So one is concrete gate, another one is the steel grade, and cover we have fully discussed in the previous video what is the cover we need to follow for the all project in all building. And this is the video that we are going to discuss about the lab. What is lab and where we need to use the lab and what is the condition we are going to follow. So lab, and we technically name there is we used to call splices. So what is the lab? We have already discussed what is the rebar, and rebar has some distance until 12 meter only. We need to take it from one place to another place. Because of the transportation, there we have provided some rebar length like 12 meter. What is the rebar? And rebar has some length, and that is 12 meter. So that is the 12 meter. After the 12 meter, most of the building more than 24 meter will be there, and more than 30 meter we need to follow for the building. So if we are going to use that 12 meter, how we can connect each rebar? So by using the splice only. From the lap only we are going to connect each and every 12 meter bar. So that is what are the connectivity between the two rebar that we are going to call splice or lap. So if we are going to have some example, we are going to consider some example for this. If we are instead of rebar, that we are going to imagine two pen will be there. Pen means writing pen will be there, and we need to connect both end. Whether it is okay to be connected or no, it will not stand in one point, and there is the option to fell down. That is the reason we are going to tie up each lap by using the stirrups, or there is a small ties that we always use to tie up the lap area. And one more thing, we are going to connect that the edge in small areas of two rebar side of each side, that there is a small length we are going to tie up. Still it can't able to stand, and there is option to fell. So from the structural design they have calculated some of the length based on the length which has the rebar. So that is the length we are going to calculate for the lap or splices we called. So what is the lap or splices that we are going to calculate in the BS standard? There is a minimum length they have provided. What is the length and where we need to take from that length? Obviously we are going to search from the structural drawing, and we are going to take that length from the structural drawing. So commonly what we have used, as we discussed, there is the what is the minimum length they ask us to go for, that we have followed. So basic thing, the same standard that we need to follow for the all building. If from the cover area, if from the structural drawing, if they are not provide for the lap or splices length, we will consider normally in all building 50 into diameter. For example, T16 diameter we are going to follow, so we have to multiply with the 50 mm. T6 means 16 into 50 mm, that we are going to get the 800 mm length. We are going to connect one side 12 meter bar and another side 12 meter bar. So each end that going to connect, what is the lap? The two bar going to connect with the lap of 800 mm. And if you are going to discuss about another dia T20 diameter of the rebar, what is the length we need to follow for the splice? Again we are going to calculate the 20 mm into 50. 20 is the rebar size that we are going to calculate, and 50 design person have calculated by using the structural engineer, and then they have provided into the structural details that we call general notes. From the general rules in the structural drawing, we are going to take the splices length, normal splices length that we always calculate in all building, 50 into diameter. Diameter meaning what is the rebar that we are going to follow for the special element, that we are going to multiply with the 50 mm. And again we are going to see 20 dia of bar, and we need to multiply with the 50. So what is the splices length? We are going to get 1000, and the same thing we are going to follow each and every dia. And there is a difference between the longer lap and smaller lap. to 12-meter rebar that we are going to connect by using this lap length, that is okay. And what about the maximum dia that we need to go for? For example, T32 we are going to take and T40 that we are going to take. There is a more lap length will come. For example, 1300 and 1600, more than 1600, we need to go and consider coupler. There is a coupler detail will be there. We will go and discuss more about the coupler detail in future videos. So now we are going to connect. What is the coupler? This is the coupler area where there is a more length in splices or lap will coming in that area, that we are going to follow the coupler in that place. What is the uses of coupler? It is giving the strong connectivity between the two bar, and side people can easily adjust by using the coupler bar. And another usable thing, there is a less wastage of the rebar length. Okay, we are going to compare it to the estimation cost from the lap and coupler area. There is a coupler, they will go for the maximum dia. Why we are going for the maximum dia? The coupler will provide you more connectivity and there is less chances to breakages. So these are all the activities coupler will act in that position instead of splices. And what is the another name of lap that we have discussed? That is the name we call splices. We would say splice or lap also we would say. Before video that we have discussed about what is the standard that we need to follow for the rebar detailing. We have already discussed from the BS standard, BS 8666 that we need to follow, or else 4466 standard code will be there, and normal lap in Indian standard IS 456 from the 2000 standard that they will always follow. So what is the lap length that we are going to see and search from that code? We need to follow 40 dia to 60 dia. So what is the dia? Dia that we are going to use it from the structural design, or what is the element that we are going to use for the diameter of the rebar, that is the rebar size. We will keep instead of the diameter, we need to multiply with 40 or 60 or 50. So when we have compared with 40 or 60, some of the people ask us to go for 60 dia, and some client or customers that ask us to go for the 40 dia. Here the common dia that we need to follow 50 into dia, 50 into what is the diameter of the bar that we are going to use as for the element. For example, if you are going to take a slab, and in that slab what is the dia? Normally they will provide maximum T20 to 25. So if T20 bar each side they are going to connect with the splice. So how they will connect? They will keep one rebar and another rebar they are going to connect with the upper side. That what is the length the two rebar will going to connect? 1000 mm, because 20 into 50 dia that we are going to calculate 1000 mm, and that two rebar which going to connect by using lap, the lap length that we have followed 1000 mm. And still there is a lot of detail that we are going to study from the structural drawing. From the structural drawing, what are all the sizes that they ask us to go for the different diameter and different rebar, and still there is a different lap that we need to follow for the different element. For example, they will ask us to go for the slab different lap length, and they ask us to go for the column and beam and walls different lap, and there is a lap different types will be there. And what is the different type that we are going to discuss in the lap? Meaning there is a staggered lap and point lap will be there. What is a point lap? For example, if you are going to see the vertical wall there is evenly they will arrange the lap. One side they are going to connect the 12-meter bar, and another side they are going to connect the 12-meter bar, and each bar will connect in the same places from top to bottom. If you are going to see the vertical element in the wall area, what is the staggered rebar? So what the first layer that they are going to connect with the lap length, and another layer that they are going to connect with the lap length with little movement towards side. Meaning what is the length that we need to follow for the in between lap? 0.3 into lap length that we need to follow for the distance between two lap. What is the distance between two lap? It's not in the same layer that we are going to consider in the another layer. Staggered lap meaning it's a zigzag type. One layer in lap with one point, and another layer it's going to be lap with another point. There is a distance we need to follow for the staggered lap. That is the length we are going to call 0.3 into length of the splices or lap. This is the length that we will always follow for the distance between two lap. So that is the name we called staggered lap. What is the staggered lap that we are going to discuss? From one end to another end there is one lap located in another area, and another layer that we are going to see that lap it's located in another area. So different area there is a lap which we are going to see. So that is the name we call staggered lap. there is a point lap and staggered lap that we have discussed, and what is the distance also we need to follow that we have discussed in this video. And after that, what we are going to see, so these are all the discussion that we have done in this video, and we are going to see details about what is the condition that we need to follow for the rebar detailing. That is the video that we are going to see in the next. Until bye.